Why do I keep buying books when I haven't read the ones that I bought last time? Because I'm trash. Hello everyone, it's Brianna and welcome back to my channel. As you guys saw from the quick clip at the beginning, I recently purchased a ton of books. I think it's 52 books total. I have a problem. Fair warning, I actually don't know full synopses for any of these books. A lot of these were just impulse purchases because I have a shopping issue, you guys. I just buy books because it's a coping mechanism for me and I need to stop doing it. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands, but First things first, I wanted to show off my book of the month picks from May and April. I'm really excited about these ones. Book of the month is such a fun subscription service for me because it always introduces me to books I otherwise wouldn't have heard of or would have picked up, and they always have early releases too, which is my favorite thing, is I get to read books before they come out. It's such a treat. For my April picks, I got The Paris Hours and The Library of Legends. These are both historical fiction novels set around the same time, I believe 1930s, 1940s. They're very different stories even though they're set in the same time frame. I am especially really excited about The Library of Legends. I think the story sounds exciting. It follows a protagonist as she has to travel across China in the 1930s in order to get to Shanghai to reunite with her mother during the war. She is also entrusted with the Library of Legends, which is a 500-year-old collection of myth and folklore. It's priceless and she has to protect it as she makes her travels across the country. That sounds amazing. She meets a bunch of really cool people along the way. There's magic, there's spirits, there's all this folklore and mythology that comes to life in this novel. So I'm very, very, very interested in reading this one. I'm gonna read it soon. This is on my TBR for the Asian Readathon as well. The Paris Hours is a very different story set in the 1920s in Paris. It follows 4 separate characters as they go about their lives in Paris alongside these huge creative geniuses who were in the city at the same time as them. It follows these 4 people's stories and they all come together in the end. I'm obsessed with stories like that where it's all these 4 seemingly separate individual tales and they all kind of get woven together. I like that type of narration and that type of storytelling, so this one's gonna be one that I'm looking forward to a lot. For May, I got The Knockout Queen. This is a young adult contemporary that follows 2 main characters. One who is a very rich girl who is misunderstood and actually has a lot going on behind the scenes. The other follows a misfit boy and they try to come together and be friends. That's probably a really vague description, but when I read it online, I thought this story sounded really interesting and I'm excited to read it. I love the cover. I think it's so simple and so nice. I like the font as well. Nice covers are really everything, you guys. Nice covers are everything. Ugly covers are not it. I hate buying books with ugly covers. I just can't bring myself to do it. I judge books by covers. That's the truth. And the last book I got is one of my add-ons. This is from Book of the Month's large backlog. A Woman Is No Man. This is recommended to me by my sister. She said it was a book that she really enjoyed and she doesn't just say that lightly, so I ended up picking it up even though I have no idea what it's about. Again, going in blind with this one, but I do love reading stories without knowing anything ahead of time. It's one of my favorite things to do, so looking forward to this one as well. Hopefully I actually start reading these books before I buy more. I have put a limit on myself. I'm not going to buy any more books. Please yell at me if you see me on Twitter or Instagram buying more books. I have stopped. This is everything. Gonna read these all before I buy more. I swear. Probably. My first impulse purchase are these 3 books. These are the first 3 books of the Expanse series by James Corey. This I bought because I read on a Reddit thread, someone was asking, you know, for someone who hasn't read a lot of sci-fi before, what would be a good series to get an introduction that really kind of just like pulls you into the book and then you're gonna become obsessed with the series. This was highly recommended. A bunch of people said Leviathan Wakes, and then a lot of people were saying that the series itself is amazing, not just the first book, so I decided to pick up the boxed set for it. I myself am like the original OP on the Reddit thread. I haven't read a lot of sci-fi, so I'm really interested in how I'm going to fare with these books. The next book that I got is Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. This one I got because of my sister. She had read the author's other book, Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs, which is, I think, written about a bunch of children's questions about what will happen to you after death. The author is a mortician, so she answers a lot of those questions and it's really fun. My sister liked it a lot, so I ended up picking up this book, Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, which is her other book written about her work in the crematory, and I'm really interested in what this is going to be like. I haven't read anything along this topic before, so looking forward to this one as well. This is The Lovely War. I got this as a deal on Barnes & Noble because they were having, I think if you buy any other young adult novel, you can also get Lovely War for $5. So I went with that. I'll show you guys the other book that I got as well, but I got this. The premise sounded interesting. It takes place, I'm pretty sure, during World War II. It's a love story and it's narrated by Aphrodite. And I think it includes some kind of like Greek mythology, Greek god narration in it as well. I thought the premise sounded really interesting, really different, and I picked it up because, again, I have an addiction to buying books, so Lovely War. That's all the information I have about it. The book I got along with Lovely War was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. This is something that my sister has been on hold for at the library, but obviously, unfortunately, all the libraries are closed right now because of COVID-19, so I ended up just buying it because it was as a part of the deal with Lovely War. I'm excited for reading this one. I'm going to read this with my sister as well. She heard it was very good. Here I have Star Wars, Leia, Princess of Alderaan by Claudia Gray. I had read another one of Claudia Gray's books, Star Wars Lost Stars, prior, and I did enjoy it a lot, but I wanted to read one of her books about Leia because I heard she's one of the best writers and she's one of the best at writing Leia specifically. And this follows her time as a young teenager. I think she's about 16 in the novel, and she's going to have to start making her choice. She's been named heir to Alderaan, and then she wants to decide if she's going to just continue being a princess of Alderaan or if she's going to become the rebel hero that the galaxy needs. So exciting. I absolutely love Leia and I cannot wait to read this. This is probably one of the ones I'm most excited about. This is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I got this in the mail a couple of days ago when it came out. I am apprehensive about this. I've heard mixed reviews. A lot of my friends have already finished reading it. Some of them said it was really disappointing, others loved it, so I don't know what I'm going to think. I'm planning on doing a reread of The Hunger Games as well prior to reading this, so we'll see how this one goes. Uzumaki by Junji Ito. This was super highly recommended to me when I put out there what graphic novels I should pick up. So many of you guys suggested Junji Ito novels, especially because I said I don't often read horror, and you guys were like, this is a great introduction. It's really easy to read because it's a graphic novel / manga, and his art is incredible. I have only read some of his short stories, so I am stoked. This one I think it compiles all 3 of the books in the Uzumaki trilogy into one, and I'm stoked. This is said to F you up and that you're going to be thinking about it late at night for weeks, so I'm definitely looking forward to something just messing with my mind for a long time. The next book I got is George Takei's They Call This Enemy. I believe this is a fictionalized experience of his time in Japanese internment camps with his family when he was a child. This story I think is obviously going to be very moving, very heavy. This was a extremely difficult, terrible, and brutal time for Japanese Americans. I remember thinking about how it's glossed over in American history classes, especially before. If you don't learn about it in college, you're really never going to learn about it because in American public education they don't really talk about non-white American history very often, and when it comes to like the brutal things that the American government has done over the years, this was barely mentioned. Japanese internment is like a little dip in everything else that you learn. So I think reading extra books like this is a graphic novel, but reading extra stories like this is really crucial to have a better understanding of American history, so I'm really looking forward to this one. Again, when I had asked you guys for graphic novel recommendations, a ton of you guys said Snot Girl, so I got the first 2 volumes. I believe volume 3 had just recently come out, but it hasn't come in the mail for me yet, so I only have volumes 1 and 2, but the art looks beautiful and I'm really excited about reading these. I have gotten into graphic novels recently, so I like that you guys recommended so many that have really nice art, so I look forward to it. Along those same lines, I also got the Saga series. I got volumes 1 through 3. I think there's 9 out right now, but I only just got the first 3 because I'm like, what if I hate it? But I bought 3 anyways, even though I haven't read any of them. Next, I got the first 3 of The Wicked and the Divine. Again, I don't know what these are about, but you guys recommended them to me, and I got multiple recommendations for this and Saga, so I got these as well. Haven't read any of them. I think I might film a video about me reading my graphic novels / comic books / manga, so look forward to that. Lastly, I got the first 3 editions of Paper Girl. This art style I think is probably my favorite out of the ones I've shown you guys. I love the colors. They're so nice, and I have this one. If you've seen pictures of my room, this one is displayed on my bookshelf because I just love the art style so much. I've heard this one isn't as good as Saga. It's the same author, but I still look forward to it. I like the idea of like your little girl gang going around solving mysteries, kicking butt, doing things. I like it. So this is going to be on the TBR as well. Here I have the trilogy for Howl's Moving Castle. I also was on another Reddit thread, and a lot of people were asking for book recommendations for books that kind of make you feel light and happy and transport you to a whole nother world. And Howl's Moving Castle, the trilogy, was not nominated, was recommended multiple times. I have seen the Ghibli movie for Howl's Moving Castle and loved it, so I figured if the book series is as lauded as everyone was saying it was in that Reddit thread, then it must be amazing, so I picked these up as well. Here I have The City of Dreaming Books. This is because I was watching Peru's project and she had recommended The City of Dreaming Books as a book that most people haven't heard of, but she absolutely loved. So I decided to pick it up. I like books about books a lot, so I'm excited about this one. My little cousin's gonna borrow it first and I'm letting her read it, but after that I'm going to check it out as well. Cannot wait for this one. For more graphic novels, I picked up the entire Heartstopper series. Volume 4 hopefully is coming out soon, but I got these. It follows the story of Charlie and Nick, who are two side characters from Alice Oseman's other novel Solitaire, and this is actually telling the story of how they met and how they fell in love. This is one that I actually knew the story of before I purchased them, so this is one of the only things that I bought where I actually had an idea of what it was about before I got it. I'm really excited. I have read volume 1 already and I loved it, so volume 2 and 3, cannot wait to get started on those. The art style is adorable. I really love how sweet and soft everything feels, so really excited to see where Charlie and Nick go in the next novels. Another recommendation you guys gave me for graphic novels was Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me. I picked this up as well. The art style looks gorgeous. I have no more information on what this book is about. Literally no idea. This is just the trend with Breana and buying books, is I don't know what anything's about ever. So this is beautiful. Here I have The Mountains Sing by Nguyen Phan Nguyen Mai, and I'm really excited about this one. I'm 50 pages in. My mom has finished reading it already before me. I let her borrow it and she absolutely loved it. She's rating this as one of her favorite books of all time now, and that is high praise from my mom, so I'm really excited about this. It's telling the story of a family, a girl and her grandmother during the Vietnam War, and they have flashbacks to the grandma's life as a young daughter of a wealthy farming family, I believe, and it's just my mom was crying reading this book, and I'm 50 pages in and I was also crying, and nothing's happened yet, so I feel like this one's gonna be a really emotional one for me to read, especially with my familial connection with it, since both of my parents are Vietnamese refugees and almost my entire family are refugees from the same war as well. So my mom saw herself in this novel, and I think that's why she found it so moving, and I cannot wait to read it too. Next, I picked up the Scythe books. I did not get the third one because the paperback isn't out yet, and I hate when I have a series and they're not all the same type of book or version. So I only got the first two, Scythe and Thunderhead. I heard many good things about this. I showed this in my room tour, and one of you guys had said that it was your brother's favorite series. So lots of praise for this one. Here I have The Stationery Shop. This is another book that was recommended to me and was a surprise gift that I received from one of my friends. So I actually don't know what it's about either, surprise, but she said it's one of her favorite books of all time, that I definitely have to check it out, and I have this on my TBR for the Asian Readathon, which is happening this month, which I definitely have totally started. I am doing so great with that. And so this one is on the TBR as well, so I'll let you guys know what I think after I read it. The next book that I got is also on my TBR for the Asian Readathon. It is Darius the Great Is Not Okay. So many of you guys were saying to me when I showed you guys I was going to read this book that it was really moving, that you loved it so much, and honestly from reading the synopsis on the back, I agree. I feel like this book is really going to be relatable for me, is going to be moving for me as well. It follows the story of a boy named Darius. He is half Persian and he's finally going to take his first trip to Iran, but the only thing is that he doesn't really have that much of a connection to his Persian culture, and he's more comfortable speaking about nerdy things and Klingon than he is speaking in Persian. And I honestly could relate to that a lot when I was younger. I felt like I had a really big disconnect from my Vietnamese culture, not because it was not for a lack of trying, right, but I've had this like inferiority complex that whenever I went to go visit my Vietnamese cousins in Vietnam, that I was never Vietnamese enough for them. For them I was American, but when I was here I'm Vietnamese. So I understand that type of like cultural struggle for being a teenager who's trying to understand like his family and his parents' culture, and that's a big part for me as well that I think I'm gonna like about this book. And the other part, he already is suffering with clinical depression and he's trying to navigate all of this during his trip to Iran, and that's something that I think is gonna be really relatable for me as well. So I'm excited to read this. So many of you guys said to me that this book like changed your lives, and the praise I've heard about it is insane. So this is a big one I'm really excited for too. Probably this along with the Leia, Princess of Alderaan, two of the ones I'm most excited about reading. Next, I got the Lord of the Rings trilogy and The Hobbit. I had read The Hobbit when I was in middle school, but I had actually never picked up the original Lord of the Rings trilogy to read before, and I'm excited. This is a classic, I feel like, in fantasy, and anyone who likes fantasy has read it, so I think it's my time. I have to do my due diligence as a fantasy fan and read Lord of the Rings. Percy Jackson is the ultimate thing. From when I was in late elementary school, I was obsessed with this series, and the boy that I had a crush on was the one who introduced me to these books, so it was like a whole rush of everything coming back to me at once, and it was insane. So this, if you guys haven't heard, Percy Jackson is getting a Disney Plus TV adaptation that I'm super excited about, and I ended up picking up this 5-book paperback set. I'm extremely excited. This was everything to me when I was a kid. I was so obsessed with it. I would always think about which god would be my parent. I always wanted to be a demigod. This is Rick Riordan made my life. So this reread hopefully is going to be super fun. I cannot wait to reread these. Just so much nostalgia and love and happiness is in these books, so we're excited. The last books that I got the 20th anniversary house editions of Harry Potter. Only the first 4 are out. The 5th one I believe is going to be released in June, so I did pre-order it, but I got Harry Potter's 1 through 4. So Philosopher's Stone through Goblet of Fire is what I purchased. I have already finished my reread of these 3. I have just started Goblet of Fire again. I haven't read these in over a decade, so this reread has been eye-opening. I'm noticing a lot of things that I didn't when I read these as a child, so I'm having a good time. So Goblet of Fire is when things start getting dark, so I'm very much looking forward to finishing that reread, and I'm going to do a video on these as well. Hi, it's Editing Brianna, and I just realized I forgot to show you guys 2 of the books that I got. The final 2, I got Clap and You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo, and I got The Henna Wars. These are both books that I got super recently, so I forgot to take them off of the shelf before to show you guys, but these are part of the 50-something books that I got. Really excited about these. I have read Elizabeth Acevedo's The Poet X before, and I was absolutely obsessed. This is a story about queer Asian girls, so I'm obsessed with this too. Very excited. Apologies for leaving these out before. And those were all the books that I purchased. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys liked the content. Even though I had no idea what 90% of these books were about, I clearly have an issue with buying books. Hopefully this was enjoyable. I want to know what you guys are reading as well, or any books that you want to purchase but haven't had the chance to. Please let me know down below. I love you all very much. Stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you again next time. Bye!